And aloha, America. Welcome back to the show here. And when we went to the commercial break, I was pointing out how there's this weird perception of dealing with problems where everybody loves the firefighter. It's a hero coming on in. Your house is already on fire, chops it up, throws water all over everything, makes a mess, gives you back half of what you had before, and thank goodness he's or she is a major hero. But the guy who was there 2 weeks ago saying you better tape up that fraying wire, he's a pain in the neck. And that is a real problem because our government has gotten used to playing firemen because they are appreciated for coming in after the disaster happens and at least pretending to deal with the problem, whether it's the Gulf oil disaster or the Porter Ranch gas leak or Hanford or Whip or 3 Mile Island or Love Canal. And I don't want a government that is composed entirely of firefighters. I want a government that is that person who comes on in and says, look, you better tape up this stuff. Get rid of those oily rags. Let's not let the disaster happen in the first place. What we're dealing with here in Flint, Michigan, is a government that actually knew they were giving their own people toxic, dangerous water. But they did it so they could free up tax money to give to corporations. That's the scandal. They sold the health of their own people for a fast buck. They're probably thinking, oh, well, this is good for the economy. They're all going to get sick, and they're going to go to the doctors, and they're going to spend more money on medicines and hospitals. Only if they have it, and in Flint, Michigan, they don't. Now, lead poisoning is permanent. There's no way to take it back. It's the gift that keeps on giving. And these children, whose brains have been damaged by the lead poisoning, they're not going to be able to learn as well. They're not going to be able to excel. They're going to be leading disadvantaged lives all because of this money junkie decision of the government. A lot of people are protesting what happened because it wasn't an accident. This was a policy decision by the government of Michigan itself, all the way up to the governor, to sell these people toxic water in order to spend their tax dollars on a corporation. That was a policy decision. One of the groups showing up to protest was a militia group with Don't Tread on Me flags, the Gadsden flags, and some of them were armed. And they're saying, we're here to defend this community. We're not going to allow the government to step on the people of Flint any longer. I can understand their anger. Every parent in America ought to be furious because this problem is not confined to Flint. It's already being discovered in a lot of other cities in America. The water is toxic. It's contaminated. And we're starting to find in some of these other cities, their local governments knew it was a problem too, kept it a secret. Now, some leaked emails have come on out from the Flint government. A lot of redactions. They're trying to basically bury the blame and say, well, we don't remember who actually made that decision. It was somebody in the opposition party, I'm sure. But in this emails, the unredacted part, they're making fun of the people of Flint who are complaining about the water. Oh, they're making a fuss over aesthetic issues. Oh, so it smells a little bit and it tastes funny. Oh, these people are so picky. Yeah, that's just an aesthetic issue. But trust us, the water is safe. That was what they kept saying. We're not responsible for the aesthetic quality of the water. So if it looks like it's brown or yellow or really yucky and it smells, just hold your nose and, mix in a lot of Kool-Aid and drink your water that way. Then we find out they knew all along the water was toxic. The governor of Michigan had a special commission study this plan. The commission came back and said, no, you cannot use the Flint River as a source of water. It's too toxic. It's too polluted. It's going to harm the population. It's going to destroy the plumbing. And they went ahead and did it anyway. And how they dealt with it is basically saying, you're all making a big fuss out of nothing. The Flint government actually put out a printed poster telling all the people of Flint that it was perfectly safe to bathe their babies in the tap water. We've got a copy of that poster on the front of whatreallyhappened.com. And then they wonder why we doubt them about the safety of GMO, the safety and efficacy of vaccines. We've got them dead to rights. They don't care about our health. They just want to maximize how much labor and money they can harvest from us, and after that, they could care less. We're being treated worse than farm animals. We have to get this out and make a big stink about it. If for no other reason than to reassure all those parents who are dealing with neurologically damaged babies that it isn't their fault. They're not bad parents. They don't have bad DNA. They didn't make a mistake. They didn't do anything wrong. It was done to them. So everybody's piling on in. They're going to exploit it for whatever they can get for it. It's not going to solve the problem. Erin Brockovich is already on the way over there. And yeah, good for her. She's got the name value that is going to draw attention to this. Now, we were talking about how up in Sebring, Ohio, their water has turned out to be heavily contaminated with lead. And we're finding out there, too, government officials knew there was a problem and kept it hidden. How many other cities? We know there's problems with water with Baltimore, parts of New Orleans, Boston. Everybody's buying lead testing kits. Take a week to get there in the mail. We're going to start seeing reports from all over the country about lead content in the water. Of course, Nestle's, they're happy as all heck. They believe in commoditized water, and they're out there saying, buy our bottled water, blah, blah, blah. All the bottled water companies are doing that. But there's a problem? Do you know that they add fluoride to the bottled water? Even the bottled water at the supermarket, $2 for a bottle like that, is toxic. It's amazing. All right, we're going to grab a couple of phone calls here. Ralph in Mississippi? Michigan, I'm sorry. I couldn't get to my list fast enough here. I don't have all these memorized yet. What's on your mind?
That's okay. Listen, you're right to an extent, but, let's not forget that there's personal responsibility that needs to be taken by the people of Flint and every other city in the United States.
Wait a minute. They were told by the water company and their city government the water was safe to drink. How is it not responsible for them? Don't shift the blame onto the victims here.
Okay,
that's ridiculous.
I'm going to explain why, okay, Mike? If you just give me a second, take a breath.
You got 1 second.
Okay. When I bought this house, I was told the water was fine, too, and we live right by the lake. And they pumped the water in, and they said the water's fine. But you know what? I put in my filtering system, reverse osmosis. I put one in the shower because I knew they still put chlorine and fluoride in the water. That was enough right there to make me, not believe the government. If the government says it's good, then I take the opposite route.
Well, you're wise for that, but listen, you look at the economic condition of the citizens of Flint, Michigan. I mean, all the way back to Michael Moore's film Roger and Me. These people can't afford filtering systems and reverse osmosis and the rest of it. They were paying their money. They were paying their money to get safe drinking water. At the very least, there's a massive class action lawsuit for criminal fraud against the entire government of Michigan on this matter.
I agree with you to an extent, but you got to remember, before Michael Moore, I was around a long time before Michael Moore was, okay, and I remember when Flint was a boom town, and people were making money right over the fist, and you know what, a lot of people moved up there because the welfare was really great up there. But let me
okay, all right, Ralph, thank you very much. I mean, this is pathetic to try and shift the blame back onto these people. That's ridiculous. Absolutely. I know I got 2 more callers waiting on the line here, but we're coming up on our top of the hour news break, so I'm going to ask both of you to be very patient while we go through the top of the hour news and commercials, and we're going to come out back. Don't you dare try and shift the blame off the government that lied to these people and sold them what they told them was safe drinking water, knowing it was not. The government is the bad guy here. Don't you dare call into this show and try and say it's somehow the fault of the victim. You will get hung up on. We'll be right back.